like I said earlier, it's your feedback that gets things changed. And that's, like I said, that's where classic physique came in. Because of a lot of the men's physiques wanted to show off their legs. Okay? This division is the best. Because I will tell you, the first time I did it this year was at the Emerald Cup. And there was a gentleman there, just when we talked about being too big. And I was like, ooh, I think he's a little bit too big and stuff. And, you know, and again, we talk about shows afterwards, because that's the only way, as judges, we're going to learn what is too much. You know, we all talk together. And so I said to Jim, I said, oof, when you see the pictures, I said, I think the overall might have been too big and for the classic physique, you know, and it's a new division, and we want to make, you know, we want to try to be as consistent as we can. And he said, did he make was his height right? Was his weight right? I went, yeah, I'm assuming I wasn't then he can't be too big, Sandy. Okay? So this division is like the best, because you have parameters for your height, for your weight. I will tell you, I know, again, I know they're going to up the weight 5 pounds for pros next year, and we're going to be discussing for the amateurs, we might do it for the higher classes, not the lower classes. I didn't put them all under here, but you all know there are multiple groupings under each of these divisions. Every inch gets an extra 5 pounds, all the way up to 5'7", and the same thing here. Once you're over 5'7", up to 5'10", you're all going to start at 177, and they add 5 pounds to each of the heights.
Are you sure those numbers are correct?
Well, no, they might have been from last year.
Okay, because they're not the same for this year.
Okay. Thought I took them out of the thing, but okay. I will be honest, I used to know all my heights and weight. Once Classic came along, I gave up on memorizing everything. Okay, like I said, athletes will come out, you'll do in a lineup, do quarter turns, or you'll do your individuals depending where you go. The mandatory poses is that just, again, front double bicep, your side chest, your back, your abdominals, and your favorite classic physique, okay? These are the 5 things that you're going to show us in mandatories. This is the last pose you're going to do before you walk off stage. Think about it, though, as it is being judged. I see so many classic physique guys just doing a classic physique pose and not thinking of their body and doing it right. This pose you want to do, they just kind of like, it's like just add it in, but they're not thinking about doing the pose correct like you would like your abdominal pose or your back pose. And this is our last look at you before you go off. So you want us to see you in your best light. So pick a pose that really fits your physique and make sure that you practice it as much as you practice these so that you get it right. Okay? Think of like what body parts you're trying to highlight and make sure that you actually work on it and get it so that it makes you look in your best light. Okay, these again are all just tips from watching Steve's video. Again, this is bodybuilding, whatever, women's physique, figure. You always start at your feet and work out. Again, working on getting the lats out. Chest up, okay? Seriously, listen to things, because Steve says if you're doing classic physique, you really want to, when you're doing your side chest, you want to lift your chest up. You really want to do a vacuum, pull your stomach in, get your chest as high as you can, okay? And you're still going to bring that arm in and you know what I mean, and angle a little bit so that you show a nice V, okay? Just like I said, back arm squeezes so that you have against your chest so you show your depth. Your legs should be together so that, again, when you're pressing that one leg against the other leg, it just makes your hamstring and quad look a little bit thicker. And again, you want to angle. Chest up, lats out. Again, tilt shoulders just a little front. If you tilt them a little front, even though you're angling back, it'll still bring out that depth in the back. I think I did all that. Okay, abdominal again. One of the things, too, who's classic physique? Come on up here. One of you is. I'm going to put you on the spot here, somebody. I just want you to do an abdominal pose for me. Okay, so let's stand over this area over here so you're not in the light. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, either side. Either side. So how do you do your abdominal pose? Both of you.
Sure.
Yes.
I guess that would make sense, right? Abdominals.
Yep. Okay, if you go listen to Steve, what you want to do though is you want the arms out a little bit, because if you do that, then you're bringing your lats out, and he's showing more of a V taper, okay, and then sinking into the pose. So seriously, take that couple minutes though, because he said if you watch most guys, he'll say they'll bring their elbows in, and when I watched at the Olympia, it's like, yeah, damn, he's right. You know what I mean? So you want the arms out a little bit, because you can highlight more of your lats, so that it gives you that more of a V taper. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So just again, just something to to practice. Yeah. Like do your pose. And the same thing. If you bring your arms out a little bit, it gives you more of this. So that, because again, every pose, whether it's abdominals, back, you're not looking at just what that body part. You're looking at the whole physique. So even when you're doing your abs, if you notice, both of them put their leg out to the side so that they'll show their separation in their leg, okay? And I'm looking at abs, but I'm also still want to see the V taper. And it just makes sense if you have your arms out, and if you practice that, you'll see that bringing your arms out a little bit will just give you a little bit more of a taper, and you don't lose anything in your abdominal definition. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, good luck tomorrow. Okay, just like I said with men's physique, okay, we don't want to see all the bicep poses. Okay, when you're doing your 60 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever it ends up to be, your individual, we don't do front back lat spread. We don't do most muscular. That's not the division you're in. So just think about that, because it's amazing. That's what we're seeing more and more. No, if that's what you want to do, then move up to bodybuilding. This is classic physique, so you want to highlight the classic poses, because that's kind of the light you want to, you want to show your physique in.
Sandy, for your favorite classical physique pose, can you go down on one knee?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
any of those classic, absolutely. I just find guys just kind of throw it in at the end, and they're not thinking of what they want to highlight. Because I'll see somebody do it, and I'm like, oh my God, but his legs are so good. He should be showing his. And then even they do a good pose, they're not really thinking about doing it correct, like they like the rest of the mandatories. You can tell everybody's practices that front double bicep or whatever. But it kind of seems like they just throw that classic physique in at the end. And it's like I said, it's the last pose we're going to see you in, Okay, just like I said earlier, if you look here, again, different, this is last year's Olympia, obviously. Different types of physiques, totally, yet 1 and 2 on the Olympia stage. Okay? Again, classic physique, tiny little waist, because that is. Now you will see lots of times too, sometimes at the thing is some of the, like if it's close sometimes between a couple of athletes, they'll, like the athlete that just, like the skin tone might look a little bit soft, not really softer, but a little bit, I don't know, soft is the only word I can come up with. But we're not looking for that super vascularity like you see in bodybuilding and stuff. So sometimes that can get you, get you knocked down a place or two. If somebody has more, the full muscle bellies, the tiny waist, you know what I mean? That is going to be. Classic is probably more structure than anything else. But even with Arash is a little bit thick in the waist, and yet he was second in the Olympia last year. And same thing here. Again, not that super grainy leanness that you see in bodybuilding, but full muscle bellies. Again, obviously enough separation, but not that super grainy look that you associate with bodybuilding. Okay, like I said, these are just some of the questions I always get asked for. How do I qualify for a national show? Top 5 from tomorrow's show will get you to all the nationals except the USA and the nationals. There you have to be top 3, and it has to be an open class. Unfortunately, sometimes I'll get novice competitors or I get masters competitors thinking that they're qualified. For masters, you're qualified for masters. This is my thing. If you're like at that borderline and you're 36, 37, because I'll have girls say, should I just do an open because I don't want to be known as a masters, okay? For the most part, most of the time, we're going to know that you're at that line anyway. To me, why would you not highlight it? Like, I'm 38 and I look as good as, I always tell athletes, go to the shows that give you the most options. So if you're, if you're right at that borderline, Team U North American has both, has the Masters and the Open. You get to travel, do one show, spend all that money, and get 2 chances. Same thing with Masters, the Masters Nationals. I mean, if you're 45 or 50, you can go there and you can do the 35, the 40. I would, at that point, I would, maybe I wouldn't do the 35 if I'm 45 or 50, but I would definitely do the 40, the 45, and the 50. You know what I mean? You get more bang for your bucks, okay? If you place, though, top 5 in a national show, even if it is the Masters divisions, that qualifies you, okay? Right now, it's 1 year. We don't count the year you qualify in. So if you qualify in 2016, you're good for all of 2017, okay? And it's a calendar year, because lots of times right now I was getting calls like, my show last year that I qualified was the first week in November. Now the year is over. Do I have to re-qualify for this year's nationals? No, it's a calendar year. It's from January 1st to December 31st. Any questions on anything? I mean, we're still looking, we're still judging you on the same criteria. It's just that everybody, like I said, if you get to a Masters division, most of the time, most of those athletes have been have been training for a long time. So you're going to see a little bit more muscle. You're going to see a little bit more, we seem to be better at dieting than the younger girls. So I always see a little bit better conditioning at the Masters levels. So you get judged, at that level because everybody else in the class is. Now again, if you get, and we're seeing this more and more, but if you get the 40-year-old that has really good skin tone and is softer, you know what I mean? She will win, as long as her condition is well, is good enough. But most of the time I just find that if you go back and you look at the winners, like from the Masters Nationals, Team U, the Masters classes, or the North American Masters classes, you're going to see those Masters competitors have a little bit more muscle and they're a little bit more conditioned. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Any other questions on anything? Okay, some of the things that I've just picked up in the last week when I was doing the seminar, don't forget, especially for first-time competitors, when you're tanning, don't let them spray tan your face. I'm finding out, not so, for men too, but for women in particular, because even though you wash it off, apparently, it still gets in your pores and it's gonna, now I am gonna turn this off. It's going to, it actually then is gonna affect your makeup the next day. So you don't let them tan your face. But you have to do something, even the guys. You can't go on stage with a white face, okay? Again, not so much at the regional shows, but when you move up the ranks, okay? Because remember, it's that whole overall package look, and you want to look professional. So it's makeup. It's trying to blend your face into your, a shade or two lighter than the rest of your body, but you don't want that pale white face, with the tan. So just be careful of that.